Hi there, Prairie Plant Girl here. Today I am out here under my new trellis that I put in with my melon plants. I have watermelon and muskmelon growing here. And I'm pretty excited because I'm actually getting some fruit going along here that I think might actually come to maturity before the frost hits. So I've been trying to grow melon for several years. It's certainly possible here in Saskatchewan, but it's one of those things that's just been a challenge for me. So I thought I'd bring you in and we can have a look at them together. This is my Minnesota midget muskmelon or cantaloupe. I've seen a couple different descriptions and I'm not sure what the difference is between a muskmelon and a cantaloupe, honestly, but that's what it is. So it'll get that kind of netted skin on it. I've been trying to grow this for I think 3 years now, and I'm not sure I've ever even had fruit on the vine before. But this year I have a couple larger fruit. They're supposed to get to about 4 to 6 inches wide. Right now I think my largest is about that big, so I think that's about 2.5, 3 inches. So I think it's about halfway there. And I have another one that's a little bit smaller down here. Another one somewhere over here that I saw. So there's quite a few that they're growing on here, lots of little tiny ones. But I've heard in doing some research that I actually have fruit growing. I've gotten more excited. I've been looking more about it. And it sounds like these fruit can slip very easily from the vines. And they say if you're growing them on a trellis, you really need to make sure that they're supported. So I've grabbed some old like nylon stockings here, and I'm hoping just to kind of make a little kind of sleeve for them to rest in on the trellis. So I'm going to do that today while I'm out here. I've never made one of these little things here before, so I'm not sure what I'm doing exactly, but we'll find out together, I guess. So I don't know if I should try and put it inside the stocking and let the stocking just stretch around it and hang it that way. As they say they slip so easily. Let's see, what would my options be? Or if I should just try and make like a little hammock. I think I'll try and tie one end off and put the melon inside there. And then I'll maybe cut so I have kind of 2 handles to hook around the trellis bars here. So let's come in, we'll look at this together. Okay, so right here behind this leaf is one of the larger melons here that I want to try and work with. And it looks like, I don't know how well you can see with all the shadows and that, but it just gets worse as the day goes on. So I think maybe I'll try and affix the little trellis thing over to this the little bag that I'm going to put it in onto this little wire here on this trellis. So they say they slip so easily and you have to really be gentle with them. So I don't know how true that is, but like I said, this is the first time I've actually had one to grow for me. I came through the other day and I actually pruned off some of the vines off of some of these plants here to encourage them to set their fruit a bit more. And that's when I noticed I had so many of these little Minnesota midgets in here. So this looks kind of funny now. I'm trying to see if you can see the shot. The sun's so bad here. So there it is. Looks kind of funny. Way less appealing in there, but hopefully that'll keep it from slipping off the vine before it ripens. Now there's another one that you can't quite see that's just up a little bit. So I'm going to raise you up and we'll try and do the same deal with that one. I'll leave these others that are smaller, like thumb size. I'll leave these until they get a bit bigger before I try and tie them on. Alright, so here's the other one right here. It's just above, and you can see it's just kind of sits nicely in the palm of my hand right now. So if what I've been reading is correct, this should get about twice this size, I believe. So this is the one I'm the most excited about. It's already starting to kind of have that little cantaloupe kind of dimple at the bottom there. So I want to make another little hammocky kind of thing for it. So like I said, I'm just taking these old stockings, tie one end of this so it doesn't go through. Try and gently slip and see, it stretches out enough so there's definitely room for this melon to grow in here. And I'll just try and find a piece of this trellis, just kind of wrap it around, and hopefully you can see what I'm doing here. I can't really see the screen in the sun today. So there, I just tied it on, so I have a little knot at the bottom, and then I've tied it on to just some of the trellis string up here. And we'll see what happens with those. Like I said, there's lots and lots of little fruit coming here, especially down in the bottom. I don't know how well you can see them all. Get my camera manipulated through here, but there's one there, there's one there, one there. More down at the bottom, there's another one down there. So I think I have 2, maybe 3 plants growing in here. They're just in these really large pots that I've grown multiple things in: potatoes, peppers, tomatoes. So these pots are about, I don't know, 30 inches by 30 inches, I think, just a round pot. And I've been giving these about 2 gallons of water a day, but now that they've gotten to this size on this plant, I think I need to reduce the watering for this pot, for this plant. So I'll maybe go to 1 gallon. If you're more versed in growing these, then let me know if you think that's the right choice with that. But let's look. I have some watermelon here that are looking pretty good too, so let's have a look at those. So I turned the camera the other way. I'm not sure if that's going to make the shadows on my face and the plants any better for you to see things, but we'll try that. So the cantaloupe or muskmelon I just worked on, the Minnesota midget, is just kind of to my left here, over my back shoulder here. And this next plant here is the moon and stars. And hopefully you can see the speckling on the leaves. It's a really interesting plant. So it almost looks like it's sick. This is a watermelon, but this isn't sick. This is what it's supposed to look like. And the fruit actually gets speckles on it. So it's supposed to get like one kind of large yellow spot on the skin and a lot of little smaller yellow spots. So like the moon and the stars. And this, I can't remember if I tried this one last year. I think this is the first year I've tried it, but I'm not sure. But I do have at least 1 melon coming on here. And now these are supposed to be a more compact fruit, if what I'm reading is correct. And most catalogs that will tell you they grow to be about 10 to 15 pounds, but I've seen reports of them growing like 40 pounds. So if that happens, this trellis is way too big, but I don't think we have enough season for it to even get that big. So hopefully mine are be smaller ripening fruit. But I do have some here on there. You have to kind of follow, because the vines get all kind of interchanged here. And again, I went through the other day and tried to follow through the vines and cut back any that had fruit on them, just to encourage a little bit more growth towards the fruit and less towards the vining. I've been feeding with a high phosphorus fertilizer, trying to get in here once a week. It's not always happening, but that's better for like blossoming and fruiting than something with high nitrogen would give you lots of leaf growth. And I've also been coming in trying to find the female flowers and pollinating them with the male flowers when I can do that. There hasn't been a lot of female flowers. With any vining plant, the male flowers usually come 7 to 10 days earlier, but I feel like it's been several weeks now and I've still not seen a lot of female flowers. But the ones I'm finding, I'm trying to get pollinated. But anyway, so I'll show you the fruit here, and I've two kind of together, and they're from two different types of plants. So the next plant over is the sweet Siberian. Again, I think this is supposed to be usually a smaller fruit. When I looked it up, I tried to find, make sure that the plants weren't going to get too big of fruit on them, because this trellis is only supposed to hold, I think, 40 to 50 pounds or something. It's the Titan trellis. I got it at Vessi Seeds, Titan squash trellis. But I've also seen reports that these can get a bit larger as well on the sweet Siberian. And I think I have 2 melons coming, but they're very small for both these watermelon. So I'm not sure if they'll come to full maturity. I have, I think, about 5 weeks left now of kind of frost-free days. We're hitting a lot more heat again, so that should be good for these plants. We're going to be getting into the 30s, and that's always good for things like watermelon. But again, about 2 gallons of water. They're in the same kind of pot as the muskmelon. So I'll bring you in, I'll show you the fruit that are on these. I'm not going to do any kind of netting or anything to try and support them right now. They're too small to worry about that. But hopefully, being up here, any years where I've had watermelon that have gotten to a decent size, the frost has either gotten them or I've had gophers or something come in and eat them. So hoping with the trellis, at least I can eliminate hopefully one of those problems. Let's have a look at the fruit. So hopefully you can see well enough here. So this is off of, you can see the spotting on the leaf here. So this here is a moon and stars. Hopefully I don't break it. And then up here, the easiest way to tell is to follow the fruit and the vine to a leaf. And then I can see that this leaf is plain green, no spotting on it. And so this is the sweet Siberian. So you can see there's still very tiny, tiny little fruit yet there. Just down kind of where I was standing. There is, this is on the moon and stars, just a nice, a little bit larger size. And there's another one in here. Oh, here it is. And I believe this is on a sweet Siberian plant, because the leaf that's on that vine doesn't have that mottling. So these two are just that little bit larger. And so hopefully I have more hope for these than any of the other things I have growing out here for watermelon. But still pretty small yet for the few weeks that we have left. But we'll see how that goes. So now that you've seen my sweet Siberian and my moon and stars and Minnesota midget melons that I'm growing on this side, let's switch over to the other side. Now that side is getting a little bit of shade from this side, and I knew that would happen, but it's just the way things kind of worked out this year for things that I'm trying to do in my yard. Is where I need to put this trellis, but I'd say it's not doing too bad for what it's getting. It's still getting a lot of east exposure, so there's still a lot of morning sun hitting the other side, and it's working out not too terribly. So let's have a look. And this pot here, which is at the farthest end, kind of in the back, what would this be, northwest corner of this trellis, is Early Canada Improved. And this is the watermelon I have really been trying to work on for years, and I've gotten fruit off of it. I actually cracked some open last year just to see, but they just weren't quite there yet. This vine looks like it doesn't go anywhere, but it actually is moving over, trying to get to that morning sun, and kind of crossing around here and going up. And if I can get you followed up through. Hopefully you can see right up there. One little watermelon hanging. Right above my head is that Early Canada Improved melon. And it's like you hopefully could see there, just barely the size of the tip of my thumb, if that. So I'm not really sure how much I'm going to get out of that one, but it's still fun to see it growing there. These again are just a smaller melon. I think these are supposed to be like around pounds, if I remember correctly. It's the only one that I have on here. There are, well, I see another little teeny tiny baby coming actually down at the bottom, and it's just starting to really get into full flower production on this one. Again, shadier area. So let's move down, check out the next one. And this would be a scaly bark. And this plant isn't looking that super healthy. I don't think I have any fruit on it at all. And would guess that this is probably getting the most shade, because this end is going to get a lot of afternoon sun kind of peek in between the trees, and some of the morning sun come through this way. But this little scaly bark, I think, is getting shaded out by the muskmelon on the other side of it as far as morning sun comes. And I'm not sure how much of the afternoon sun is getting that far in here. So something to note if I ever try this setup again. But when I follow this vine around, it's kind of hard because it really wants to get in here with this muskmelon. But like, it's just kind of getting going. It's not very big, and I think a scaly bark vine is supposed to be a bit of a bigger plant. But I don't think it's really flowered too much yet. There's a few flowers on. Nope, that's a muskmelon there. I don't think it even has any flowers on it. It's really small, really behind, and I have zero hopes of ever even seeing an immature fruit really forming on that one. This tip-top melon, though, is going crazy, vining like crazy, not fruiting a lot. So let's have a little bit closer look at it. So this is a tip-top melon. You see these big melon-type leaves here. And it's really just find out, like, it looks like it's on like too much nitrogen, but it's getting the same feed as everything else. Lots of flowers and blossoms. It's growing all over the trellis as far as it can get to. That's a male flower there. See if I can find you a female flower so you can see the difference in case you're wondering, but that's a male flower. And I find melons have very, very small internal parts there that you need to get at for the fertilizing. But oh, here's a female flower I'll show you. So with the female flower, hopefully you can see this well, there's a little bit of a fruit that forms behind the flower. Now, this one looks like it's maybe gotten pollinated. It's closing up already. If you look inside, and it's again hard to see on the melons, but they're usually a little bit more to them in there instead of just a single stamen or pistil or whatever it's called there. I don't really see better on that one. But again, they just have a small kind of immature fruit form behind. Whereas the male flower is just straight attached to the vine. But there are a few fruit forming on it. They're still pretty small, not as many as the other side. There's a couple more down here just starting to form up. So they are coming. Another one over here. But I'm not sure if we have enough time in our season to get through these, but they're trying. This one didn't get pollinated. So if you see a fruit like this, see how it's kind of yellowing and withering right on the vine like this? So this didn't get pollinated. It's not that your plant's sick or anything. It just didn't get pollinated. And that's why sometimes you might want to go through just, I find you can use the little paintbrush or something if you need to just reach into the flowers. I just usually pull off a male flower and I pull the petals off, and then I just kind of push it into the female flower that way, because there's usually an abundance of male flowers. But there are pollinators out here though. I don't know if you see, there's another little fruit coming along back there. So hopefully I get something off of this, but I'm not sure about this one. I do think that Minnesota midget though might give me some fruit. Here's a little look from the other side. Yeah, and you can see that scaly bark is just it's just a small plant. It's not looking like much from this side. It's trying to grow out to the sun. The tip-top melon's pretty much taken over this side of the trellis. Here's the back of the early Canada improved. Comes up, there's quite a bit of growth over there, but then it really shoots off this way and up over the trellis. And I don't know if you can see that little tiny fruit hanging there or not. And here's the backs of the other sides. So over here is the Minnesota midget starting down there. And it's really filled in the end of the trellis here. Poking up off the side there, trying to get to the tree. And then beside it is the moon and stars. It's a beautiful plant with the splotching on the leaves. And it's quite full at the base as well. Looks really healthy. And then over here, what did I say? This is the sweet Siberian. Lots of flowers coming on the end on this side here, but it hasn't put on as much growth. So that's what my little melon patch is looking like these days. And I don't know if I should be getting excited yet or not, but it does look like I might actually manage to get some melon out of my plants this year. If you are an experienced melon grower, especially in a colder climate like mine in Saskatchewan, Canada here, it's not even so much the cold climate as the short season that makes it a little bit difficult here. Let me know in the comments if you grow watermelon, muskmelon, any kind of melon, and what your success rate is and what you think, especially with these muskmelon that are, about halfway to maturity now. Do you think they're gonna make it full way in the next month or so, or is my hope misguided? So thanks for coming on this adventure, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.